Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's me, Noel, just here giving a quick reaction to news that was announced today that likely spells the end of the career of a legendary fighter as Gennadiy Golovkin, former middleweight, unified middleweight world champion, has been elected as president of World Boxing, the organization established to oversee and govern the Olympic Games, boxing in the Olympic Games in 2028. So, yeah, it's announced a couple of days ago by Golovkin himself that it likely officially spells the end of his legendary career, although he hasn't fought in 3 years now, over 3 years. But yeah, I'm gonna give my quick thoughts on kind of the career of Golovkin and the legacy that he leaves behind in the sport if this news does spell the end. So yeah, before we get into things, please don't forget drop a like on this video first of all if you enjoy the content, and please give us a subscribe at ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel if you're not doing so already, and follow us on all social media. We've got great content on a regular basis, previews, reviews, interviews, breakdowns, betting tips, interviews, you name it. We have it on all big fights and you know across the globe. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let's get into it. So yeah. Gennady Golovkin, officially the new president of World Boxing, the governing body now for the sport in the Olympic Games. Of course, the Olympic Games, boxing in the Olympic Games has been in doubt for the last couple of games, but Golovkin now looks to ensure the future of the sport at amateur level, at the highest level. So yeah, he was elected today. Congratulations to him on that. A big role for him to undertake and a big job on hand. But yeah, this video I'm just going to be talking about his legacy as a fighter, because he did mention a couple of days ago that it would likely mean his official retirement from the sport if he's been elected, and he has been. So, that's more than likely the end for the now 43-year-old Gennady Golovkin. Of course, his last fight a couple of years ago against Canelo Alvarez, 3 years ago now in that trilogy. But yeah, his legacy, it's an incredible one. It's a sad one. It's one of what if. But I think the first thing that it's important to say is he's a first ballot Hall of Fame fighter, for me, and I think that's undoubted that he should be first ballot. I think he's up for kind of election in that very soon, I believe, from what I was reading. But you know, such a talented fighter all round, such a feared fighter, but he could do it all. Such a well-rounded machine was Golovkin. He could box, very clever boxer. Of course, from that amateur background, Olympic silver medalist in '04. So well balanced, such sharp, crisp combination, punching. Of course, bone crunching, devastating knockout power, and an iron chin, one of the greatest chins we've seen ever in the sport. Proper cast iron chin on Gennady Golovkin, and of course, he won his first world title and embarked on such an incredible streak of defenses, of unifications, and of course knockouts, a knockout streak that will struggle to be matched, you'd imagine, for many years. But yeah, such a feared fighter, but such a beautiful fighter to watch. Such artistic destruction, I suppose you could call it. But yeah, he could really do it all. Seeing the likes when he fought David Lemieux, and produced a masterclass in boxing and that one to outbox and stop Lemieux. And then in most cases, getting front foot aggression, breaking opponents down so cleverly. No kind of wasted motion in anything he done, but huge power. And very close to unbeatable was Gennady Golovkin during his career. The one big thing is for me, as I said at the start of the video, it's a sad career in terms of he was massively avoided. And certain sections of fans won't like to hear that of other fighters, but it can be left with no doubt that he was massively avoided during his career. A whole list of fighters avoided him, from Felix Sturm early on, Sergio Martinez, Miguel Cotto massively avoided, Darren Barker when he won his world title, and Canelo Alvarez, most importantly, Canelo Alvarez in 2016, vacating his WBC middleweight title instead of, meeting a deadline to fight Gennadiy Golovkin, and fighting at catch weights of 155 and 164, until, of course, people would say, well, he ended up fighting Gennadiy Golovkin in 2017, for the first time, but that was only when Golovkin showed his first signs of real decline against Danny Jacobs. Did Canelo Alvarez have any interest in fighting him? Maybe a bit harsh on Canelo Alvarez, but Canelo, of course, would have fought him at any time, but it's all run by the promoters. Oscar De La Hoya is the one that really didn't want to risk his cash cow against Gennady Golovkin in his prime. So yeah, it's such a shame that he didn't get bigger fights earlier. He did beat very good fighters during his career, but could have had the opportunity to beat other top class world champions at the time. Billy Joe Saunders, another one who didn't want anything to do with Gennady Golovkin, openly kind of said that himself. So yeah, fighters definitely avoided him. There's the most avoided fighter of his generation, absolutely. And then you've got the sadness of when he did get the big fights against Canelo Alvarez, first of all, where he clearly won the fight, and didn't get the decision, declared a draw, of course. But every man and his dog knew that Gennady Golovkin won that fight. Some dreadful criminal judges scoring in that one, to be honest, blatant corruption there. At very best, it's blatant incompetence. At the worst, it's blatant corruption. Should have got the win, should have got that career defining win, didn't get it. The rematch, of course, very arguably won that fight as well. A lot of people thought that he won that fight. It was a closer fight, but people would say at best that one should have been a draw, and the decision was given to Canelo Alvarez, so his biggest rival of his generation, and didn't get a win against him in those first two fights. And then of course the trilogy is a hard one to really count. Golovkin clearly passed his best there. It's a trilogy that kind of was past its sell by date by the time it happened. But yeah, such a shame that his biggest rival, when he did finally agree to fight him, was very fortunate to get two decisions, one win and a draw, when it should have been Golovkin getting his hand raised. So yeah, it's a case of what if for Golovkin, even though he had such an incredible career, but you have to think that he could have done more. Of course, the question also that he maybe could have moved up to super middleweight, but what fights would have materialised there if he had moved up to super middleweight as well? What career defining fights would he have got then? But his reputation he likely retires today officially with the news he's been elected as president of world boxing. His legacy is that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's the greatest middleweight of this generation, one of the most feared middleweights of all time. But there's also a hint of what if. But yeah, he's a legend. He'll have his detractors, but he was massively avoided. And his his legacy is an all-time great. Is secured no matter what happened against Canelo. Because we can read between the lines and that people seeing with their own eyes what happened there. But legendary fighter, deserves all the credit in the world, and he will be inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame one day, you'd imagine. One of my favourite fighters ever to watch. So yeah, that was just my quick reaction to the news that Gennady Golovkin has likely officially retired from in-ring competition today, with the news that he was announced president of world boxing and will spearhead the movement of the sport in the 2028 Summer Olympic Games. So yeah, best of luck to Triple G in his new role. Congratulations to him, and let us know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with my assessment of his career? What do you make of it? What do you think his legacy will be remembered for? What is his imprint on boxing for you? Let us know. Get involved down below in the comments, and as always, don't forget, drop a like on the video, give us a subscribe if you're not doing so already, and follow us on all social media. Until next time, take care.